were so fortunate to go to Disneyland Paris, and the time we spent in the Disneyland park was so wonderful because it snowed. We were so excited. We didn't think it was going to happen, and it wasn't a lot, but it was just enough to kind of cover the ground and just make everything look even more magical. Now, we when you go into Disneyland Park, you go through the Disneyland Park Hotel. Now, it was closed for renovations, so we couldn't really go. I wanted to tour it and look at it, but unfortunately, we couldn't do that. So you walk through and you go into the park. Now, it was so nice to see Main Street. It reminded me a lot of Florida. Of course, there were differences, but there were a lot of things were the same. We had Casey's Corner and the ice cream shop. There was a bakery. Now, the ice cream shop was closed while we were there. And I don't know if it was just because of the weather. I don't know if they were having renovations or something, but they were not open. But it was so cool to see the castle with some snow all around it. And they have really cool little tin sculptures everywhere of that circle and swirl. And it was really nice to see those. They do have a bakery. It's called the Cable Car Bakery. We did go in there and get a few items. The train wasn't running when we were first there, but they were testing it. So we got to see them testing that, and it came up later during the day. I got to play in the snow a little bit. It was so fun. Now, one of the lands is Discovery Land, which is kind of like Florida's Tomorrowland. Now, while we were in Discovery Land, we got to ride Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, which is like Space Mountain in Florida. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It does go upside down, which our Space Mountain in Florida does not do. They also have Star Tours, and they have the Orbitron, which is kind of like our Astro Orbiter in Florida. I did not ride that though. Now they do have a Buzz Lightyear laser blast, which is, of course, just like our one in Florida, pretty much. It does look a little more new, so that was nice. We went around the castle. They were doing some new construction. The carousel was closed, so they had some walls and everything up around it. There's a dragon under the castle, and this was something I really, really, really wanted to see. But unfortunately, it was closed, and I think it was because of the ice and snow. But if you go in and you to the castle and go into the Merlin El Enchanteur store, there's a grate in the back, and you can see him. So even though it was closed, I did get my wish fulfilled of seeing him. There is a Christmas shop in there as well. I got to go into the Christmas shop. Now, It's a Small World is over in Fantasyland, and we rode that, and I loved it. I mean, I'm usually not crazy about It's a Small World. We do it because it's a staple of Disney. You have to do it. But I actually enjoyed this one. I don't know if it's because it's just newer. So, everything is so bright and fresh, and, the song even sounds better. I don't know how to explain it, but I just enjoyed this It's a Small World a lot better than I do our one in Florida. And it was cool seeing how they represented America with like the Hollywood, the Statue of Liberty. There were some little football players. There was like the Wild West and the Indians, and so that was cool. Of course, there were some pigeons eating food. The snow was just so beautiful, and the areas that nobody walked on and stuff. The snow stayed, and it was so pretty to see it. We saw Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. They were causing some mischief, and then they went along their way. Now, Adventure Island over in Adventureland was closed. This is where like Skull Rock and the pirate ship and all that is. And I think usually you can walk all through there and do all kinds of stuff. But I believe because of the ice and snow, it's closed. So we kind of walked around it, but couldn't really go through it like you usually can. But we did get some great pictures. And it was really cool to see it. And then we went and rode the Pirates of the Caribbean, which was A little different than our Pirates of the Caribbean, but a lot of it was the same. When you first start out, you go through the Captain Jack restaurant, and then you go through the ride. There is a drop, and of course, there is Jack Sparrow at the end. Now, also in Adventureland is an attraction that we do not have in Florida, which is the Temple of Peril, which is the Indiana Jones roller coaster. The queuing for this was really cool, had lots of different like adventure stuff and tents and everything set up. The ride itself, I enjoyed it. It does go upside down. My husband wasn't crazy about this one. It kind of hurt his back a little bit, but I did enjoy it, and I'm glad we got a chance to ride it. We rode it on our second morning there when the snow was still on the ground because it never opened. That first day we were there, when the snow had first happened, it never opened that day, so we had to ride it when we went back. Now, another thing that was really cool was Big Thunder Mountain. Of course, this is a ride that we have in Florida, and we love it in Florida, and I loved it here. It was so fun. It was really cold. The wind, with the snow and the ice and everything, and the wind, and you're going so fast. It was really cold, but it was fantastic. And the theming was great. I loved walking around and seeing everything in Frontierland. This is also where the Phantom Manor is. And this is also where we ate one of our quick service meals at the Cowboy Cookout, which was really good. I have a separate video on the food that we ate while we were at Disneyland. Now, Phantom Manor, I enjoyed so much. And I'm such a fan of the Haunted Mansion, I was kind of concerned because I knew it was a little different if I was going to enjoy it as much, but I really did. I thought it was fantastic. And even though it is different, it's kind of more of like a Wild West, and it follows the story of a bride who lost her husband. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I didn't take a lot of video on the actual rides because I just wanted to enjoy them and not worry about filming. Alice's Curious Labyrinth, I never got to go through because it was closed the whole time, which was disappointing. But we did go over into Fantasyland, which is where that is, and we did do the Pinocchio ride, which was cool because the way that they controlled it, the girl at the front, had a storybook that controlled it, which I thought was cool. We also did Snow White, which is actually kind of scary. Uh, uh, there was some parts in there I was like, wow, if I was a 5-year-old kid, I might get a little freaked out. But overall, it was a really great trip, and we really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. I was so excited that we got to see the snow, and I hope that one day, if we ever get to go back, um, who knows, it could snow again. That would be so cool because I know I'll never see snow on the Cinderella Castle in Florida.